Hi guys, this is Carrie with Fullerton Professional Organizing, where we help people declutter their faith, their home, and their business, and sometimes your health. Now, today we're talking about the kitchen, pantry, refrigerator, freezer, and a little bit of how they affect meal planning. But the first thing I'm going to show you is this. Now, I don't know if you've heard of cube super, but SOUPER, like soup, super cubes. Well, this I found on Amazon, and it is not super cubed brand. Now, I would love it if super cubed would send me some so that I could try them, but right now I am using this off-brand one just to see how well it works. Now, with Supercube, the brand, you are supposed to be able to put this also in the oven. And I think maybe this one does too. I did not, let's see what it says. Here's the paper here. I don't know how much it's might be backwards, but it says it holds 1/2 cup, 1 cup, and 2 cups. Soups, pie, shepherd pie, mini loaves, these are just recommendations, but you put your planned overs in them and you freeze them. And then you can remove it just like you would an ice cube and put it in baggies. That's what I do so that I can reheat it in the microwave. Um, and I reheat it in the microwave in my glass food storage containers. But it does say here ice smells and tastes different. Wash the ice cube mold thoroughly with warm water before using. Uh, use baking soda to deodorize it. I think it's when you're using it for food and ice, you might want to clean it differently because don't want your ice to absorb the food odors and flavors that were in it before. But anyway, um, that's what I'm using. And so far, I cooked a pot roast with some green beans and froze it in these, and then took it out and put it in a freezer bag so that I have something today, actually. And then my husband cooks chuck roast. Today we're having chuck roast and green beans made in um, it's the thing, mine is not the brand that's popular right now, not the crock pot. Anyway, I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. But anyway, I cooked it and froze it. And then my husband has taken chuck roast and barbecued it just like a brisket. So on Mondays, we rotate the chuck roast crock pot version and the barbecued version. And sometimes we will rotate chicken on Mondays. So I just wanted to start my video off with that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what and why to organize your pantry, refrigerator, freezer to make meal planning easier. We've already talked a lot about meal planning. I do talk about that a lot, but I don't change up my meal planning that much. Um, and in my freezer, I have chicken, chicken tenders. I have rotisserie chicken frozen and picked off the bone. And I also have chicken thighs. That is what is at the top of my freezer. And I organize my freezer in a way that I can find what I need. And I do not overfill my refrigerator or my freezer because you can't find anything that way. And then, of course, don't forget to label everything. And matter of fact, my husband will be buying us a new refrigerator with the freezer at the bottom sometime this week, I think. And when we purchase that new refrigerator, I will set up my camera and show you how I clean the old one and how I reorganize the new one, because the new one's going to have a different way than I have a side by side, and this one is going to be freezer on the bottom. So that'll be interesting. All right. But for now, we're going to talk about meal planning. Really gets 10 times easier when your food storage works for you. The right kitchen organization reduces decision fatigue, cuts food waste, and turns what's for dinner into a quick scan of what's on hand. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I have saved money doing this. But in this guide, you'll learn what to organize in your pantry, fridge, and freezer, and why each step saves time, money, and mental energy, drawing on proven strategies from top creators and organizers. Now, I haven't done a video telling you what I'm fixing to tell you in a long time, but if you research some of my videos back when pandemic hit, you will hear me mention this. But before the pandemic hit, thankfully, I mean, to me, it was a divine thing from God. I think God prepared me ahead of time, because my husband and I, before pandemic hit, we were going out to eat so much that with the groceries that we wasted in our refrigerator because they sat in there and rotted because I went out to eat too much and didn't cook what was in my refrigerator, I'm ashamed to say that we probably wasted $1,000 a month. Now that prices for groceries and for going out to eat has doubled since the pandemic started, if we went out to eat that much now, it would probably be $2,000 a month. I don't know, this could be somewhat of an exaggeration, but I don't think so. We were going out every Saturday morning for breakfast, every Wednesday night before church, and we would go every Thursday night out to eat. And then, of course, in between there, maybe a Sunday after church. I mean, we went quite a bit. So I don't think that's an exaggeration. And my groceries would sit in the refrigerator and they would just rot because I wasn't cooking often enough and I would forget and all of those things. So now, part of this, I believe, was divine. I think the Lord prepared me for the pandemic, but part of this was also my husband deciding to take care of his health. He's diabetic, and I'm pre-diabetic, but because I'm not going to eat something different than what he eats, I'm not going to make him, hold on to his diabetic menu choices and then me eat anything I want in front of him. It's not going to happen. Now, I'm not going to tell you that he and I don't occasionally cheat, because who can stick to something that strict? But he also has a monitor that goes off when his sugar is too high. So because of that monitor and our insurance, we are even more proactive. But anyway, we had made these decisions before the pandemic even hit. So when it did hit, we had already started eating more at home and had stopped going out to eat. And then the pandemic hit and we didn't eat out at all. And then, of course, once things settled down a bit, on Thursdays, we would order our food from a local Mexican restaurant when that became well established that, restaurants were starting to deliver and stuff like that. And that was really great because we do, Thursdays are our date nights. It has been that way since we started. I can't even talk. Since we got married 35 years ago, although that's also where some of our other bad habits started. I mean, as soon as we got married, we started going out to eat every Saturday morning for breakfast, and we had Thursday date nights. Now we only have Thursday date nights, and maybe every 6 months we will go out to breakfast at a local restaurant. So not only have we saved money, tremendous amount of money, I have also gotten better about the things, my groceries. So my groceries no longer sit in my refrigerator and rot. So we save a tremendous amount of money now. And so there are a few things from the pandemic that kickstarted some better habits. And that is one that kind of started right before pandemic. So, that's why I have such a routine and a rhythm to what I do. And I do not like spending my whole evening cooking and cleaning the kitchen. So all of my meals are healthy, but super easy to prepare. But anyway, we're going to keep going with until we get to some of those areas and talk a little more about that. Now, the big name strategies and why they work. Now, I've done a lot of research because I am a professional organizer. So, reduce the inventory first. The Minimal Mom. Dawn's before and after projects on her YouTube show the fastest wins come from cutting back what you store before buying bins, use less stuff, easier categories, quicker retrieval, and only a few duplicates. Her team famously reduced a pantry by 66% using a simple, repeatable system. So you can find out more about that on her videos. Contain, categorize, then maybe label. The home edit, which the home edit is all about rainbow order, really, and I'm not into that. But for this video, clear bins and consistent categories make items visible and easy to put back. Labels help households maintain the system, especially for kids and guests. Use labels as signposts, not decoration. Now, waste less with visibility. That came from But First Coffee. Group like with like, create a front and center eat first zone and keep short lifespan foods in sight so that they're used on time. Now, I will tell you how I solved that problem. If I do happen to leave something in my refrigerator a little bit long enough for me to think, you know what? If I leave this in there too much longer, it's going to go bad. I will go ahead and get that in the freezer so it does not go bad and deal with it later. Now, what else was I going to say? Oh, and if I do put leftovers in the refrigerator, which is usually from Thursday nights going out to eat, I don't usually put leftovers in the refrigerator unless I will be eating them within the next 2 days. That is the rule I have made for myself. And I made it for my family, but really, my family doesn't really remember rules. I just make sure I'm proactive in pulling those leftovers out and serving them. And Fridays are good because we go out to eat on Thursday. So having leftovers on Fridays works for us. Or when I go grocery shopping, I make sure I have something to stick in the oven for Fridays to eat. So Fridays are my store-bought meals, or if I have made a big batch of something when I cooked and I planned to make it into a leftover, which is where this comes in. You freeze it, then you can pop it out. It's flexible, so you can pop it out and put those leftovers in your freezer. I mean, in freezer bags, and then put them back in the so you're not keeping all your storage containers in the freezer. You will have plenty of storage containers. And I use glass so I can reheat in the microwave. And I know a lot of people believe that microwaves are bad for your health, and I get it. I do know that, but you know, I do, that's what I do, and that's all there is to it. Um, or I use my air fryer. We do use the air fryer more than the microwave, if that makes you feel any better. All right, so that takes care of my Fridays. Fridays are either planned leftovers or leftovers from going out to eat the night before. All right, now with those uh, waste less with visibility ideas by putting that where we can see it so we don't waste it and don't forget it. All right, now next is budget systems that still function, and that is do it on a dime. Her ideas, inexpensive bins can risers and turntables deliver 80% of the benefit for a fraction of the cost, which is perfect for renters, students, or for setups in your pantry. And you should do this. Get a group of ladies together, order your turntables or your Lazy Susans from Dollar Tree. Yes, you have to order 24 of them at a time, but they're $1.50 each. And you can either give them as gifts for $1.50 each, or you can get together with a group of ladies and order Lazy Susans and put them anywhere in your house that you need them. That's just a side note, but those help so much with cooking. I have my spices on Lazy Susans, and you can even use those Lazy Susans in other areas. So, now reality-based rules, those come from A Slob Comes Clean, Dana K. White, the container concept. And we've talked about this before. And she says that shelf bin is the limit. What fits inside the pantry fits inside the pantry. What fits stays, the rest goes. Keeping systems self-regulating over time. Same with the freezer. What fits on the freezer shelf fits. If there's overflow, use the overflow first. Do not overstuff your refrigerator, freezer, and pantry. Plan in phases. That's by Organized 365. She says tackle your kitchen in sequenced chunks over weeks, not in one overwhelming marathon, so the system actually sticks. You know, a lot of people say pull every single thing out at once and then put it all back. That's not sustainable for everyone. Now, ADHD friendly tweaks, put leftovers and use me next items at eye level. We talked about this already. Use simple labels and a magnetic list on the door. Store produce where you'll see it first. Visibility reduces decision fatigue and waste. Now, another helpful tip, I buy a lot of my stuff at Sam's Club, and I will buy the big bulk of shredded cheese, divide it by 4, and freeze the rest. You can do that with a lot of items that you buy at Sam's Club. Saves you money, and you have extra, always have extra on hand. Now, in the refrigerator, sometimes at Sam's Club, you buy 2 containers of sour cream at the same time. I like the squeeze out kind. So I will put one in the very back of the refrigerator, the very back where it's out of the way, where your leftovers went to die. But now that it's filled with the second item of sour cream and the stuff that has to stay cold but come in sets of 2, those are put in the back and they're visible, and your leftovers don't go there to die. Just your extra refrigerated items are back there and ready to go when you're finished with the one in the door. Pantry organization, what to do and why it matters. Pull, purge, and set container limits. Empty one shelf at a time. Toss expired, stale, or no one eats this items. Decide how many snack boxes, pasta shapes, or canned goods you'll store, then stick to that limit with bins or fixed shelf space. I mean, if you have kids, buy just 2 different types of snacks that they love, and when those run out, then you can switch up to 2 different snacks so that they don't get bored. But keep the 2 as your limit. I know you don't want your kids to get bored, but until you run out, they'll survive. You just can't have 10 different snacks so that they can switch out on a daily. It's just too much. Now, let me see where I left off here. Why? Less inventory equals fewer duplicates and easier for meal planning. Limits keep the system from ballooning again. Now, number 2, create broad, family-friendly categories. Snacks, breakfast, baking, grains, canned goods, sauces, quick sides, and an eat first bin for short dated foods. Broad categories reduce maintenance. Anyone can put things back correctly. No overthinking. Home edit style categories are battle tested. Now, number 3, use clear bins and risers. Use them strategically. You may have a riser with your toaster on it and bread underneath. Clear bins corral packets. Can risers make rows visible. Turntables or lazy Susans help with oils and sauces. Visibility plus reachability equals you use what you buy. Budget options work great. Now, 4, decently decant selectively. Now, transfer only true staples like flour, sugar, rice, oats into airtight containers. You refill often. Keep oddball or slow items in original packaging because they will stay fresher longer. Decanting reduces pest and staleness, but over decanting adds maintenance. Strike a balance to save time. Clear, stackable sets are helpful. Choose your price point. Now, number 5, label for maintenance, not perfection. Simple, readable labels on bins like snacks, baking, cans. Labels cue quick decisions and help the whole family maintain order, especially kids and guests. Use reusable labels so you can adapt the containers around. Meal planning payoff is a clearly zoned pantry lets you shop your shelves, build a weekly menu around what will expire first. When you go grocery shopping, put those new items in the back, pull the older ones to the front, and assemble fast sides without stress. Your canned goods and your sides and veggies and all of that stuff. Now, what about refrigerator organization? 1, designate an eat first zone at eye level. Obviously, that's something you do in every area, pantry, freezer, and refrigerator. A front and center bin for leftovers, cuts and reduces the near expiration, expiring items. It reduces leftovers, the front and center bin for leftovers, cut produce, and near expired items. Keeps them visual. You'll actually see and use these foods, slashing waste and saving money. These have been made popularized across a lot of these realistic fridge videos. Number 2, group like with like. Breakfast bin, yogurt, berries, boiled eggs. Sandwich bin, deli meat, sliced cheese. Salad bin, greens and toppings. Cooking zone, broth and open sauces. The reason is it's fewer decisions. Grab a bin and build a meal faster. Prep simpler cleanup. Like if you're making sandwiches, not only your meat and cheeses are together, why not put your condiments like the mayonnaise together or peanut butter? Well, maybe not peanut butter, your jelly and stuff, all the sandwich things in one bin. Number 3, use clear bins and a couple of Lazy Susans or turntables on the top shelf. Now, they have these rectangle ones now. I don't have one in my refrigerator, but you have a rectangle one that fits on the shelf and turns. Now, 1 for sauces and jars, 1 for snacks. Stick to the stackable containers for meal prep items. Visibility prevents duplicates. Rotation keeps older items accessible. And, that's easy on the budget. 4, reserve crispers for what you'll actually eat. If greens get forgotten, move them to eye level and use a clamp paper towel to extend the life. Repurpose a crisper for condiments. That's what I have had to do. I had too many condiments in my refrigerator door. I had to put some in the crisper, and I never put things in the crisper that I'm going to forget. What we put in there is like containers of Jell-O and things that we know that we're going to think about wanting and then reaching for. If it's something that we think we're going to forget, it never goes in the crisper for sure. Now, ADHD friendly visibility reduces waste. Tweak default zones to match your family's real habits. Number 5, label shelves lightly, like leftovers, dairy, protein, snacks. Gentle cues keep the family from rehoming items to random shelves. Key for maintenance. That's Home Edit's labeling approach, and it's widely used. Meal planning payoff doing it this way is when the fridge shows you what must be eaten first, your weekly menu writes itself. Build dinners around the eat first items, then fill gaps with pantry, grains, and freezer proteins. All right, now some freezer organization. What to do and why it matters. 1, inventory and categories in bins. Split the bins by proteins, veggies, fruit, breads, leftovers for meal prep or planned overs, and a quick heat bin. Add a simple list on the door. Now, I don't do that, but I have bins for these categories. The heat and serve bin, so that you can just pull it out frozen and it's already cooked and you just reheat it in the air fryer. Okay, so the bins, so I don't have it written down anywhere. Flat 2, flat, freeze, and file. That's where the baggies come in. Freeze soups, sauces, flat and zipper bags, and that's also where this comes in. Okay, it's not super flat, but it's flatter than a bunch of heavy glass containers. So let's see. Zipper bags, then file upright in the bins or magazine holders. Now, the magazine holders didn't work for me, but if that works for you, save space and speeds thawing, ideal for fast last minute meals. All right, number 3, first in, first out. New items go to the back and older are brought forward. Now, you can make this more helpful by putting dates on the baggies. I don't do that, but it is a great idea. I do make sure everything's labeled because when I open those baggies and I can't figure out what I put in there, that drives me crazy. So it prevents mystery meat and money lost to freezer burn. All right, number 4, pre-portion proteins. I know this is probably a drag, but boy, this has worked for me. It's just my husband and I, but you can figure out how much chicken your family eats and put that many chicken tenders and that many chicken thighs in a bag, and you have enough just for one meal. Unless you're going to make a whole, pan of the chicken and then freeze it already cooked. Those are 2 different ways. But freeze chicken, beef, or fish in meal-sized packets. That's what I do. And then I cook it in the air fryer. Faster defrost equals fewer drive-through nights. So whether it's raw or pre-cooked, it works. Meal planning payoff is that a categorized freezer with dated portion foods means you can pull a protein out in seconds, pair it with a pantry grain and fridge vegetable, and dinner is decided. Now, here are some step-by-step kitchen organization plans that you can start today. 1, pick one zone, pantry, fridge, or freezer. Limit yourself to a single shelf drawer at a time. Small bites equal momentum. 2, purge quickly. Trash, recycle, compost, expired items. Donate sealed extras you won't use. 3, sort into broad categories. Keep them family proof, like snacks, breakfast, baking, proteins, produce, leftovers. 4, set limits, container limits. Choose how much space each category gets. Use bins, risers, or turntables, the lazy Susans, and enforce those limits so you can find and see everything. 5, place for visibility. Eye level equals eat first. Group by how you actually cook and snack. 6, label simply. Reusable labels keep it flexible as seasons and diets change. 7, make it a habit. Quick 5 to 10 minute reset after grocery day. Rotate your items first in, first out. Wipe a shelf and update your meal plan from what needs using first. Realistic, sustainable maintenance beats perfection. Now, I have a monthly meal plan. I have the same type of food every day of the week. So that's how I organize my freezer. So everything uses the same thing, the same thing. How this simplifies meal planning. Fewer choices, faster plans, broad categories, and limits reduce decision fatigue. That's why I have a whole month of meal planning already done. More visible, less waste. Eye level, eat first zones, and clear bins turn forgotten items into tonight's dinner or freezer. Better flow, quicker prep, grouping by use. Breakfast items together, all salad items together, all sandwich items together. Accelerates daily routines. Sustainable systems, long-term success. Container limits and bite-sized maintenance. Keep everything organized without constant overhauls. Now, are you ready to start? You don't need a weekend makeover or designer bins to win. Just get started. Pick one shelf, purge fast, set a simple category, and give it a container limit. Then enjoy how much easier meal planning feels this week. If you need help, call me. I'm ready to help you anytime. Start your pantry organization today. One shelf, 15 minutes, then set up an eat first bin in your fridge and a basic inventory list for your freezer. Want accountability and a plan? Reply, organize if you're local, and I'll map a shelf by shelf reset tailored to your kitchen. If you need help, contact me. Attribute all of these ideas I will come from Minimum Mom, the Home Edit, But First Coffee, Do It on a Dime, and A Slob Comes Clean. And also Organize 365. I got a lot of these ideas from them, and I did it by watching lots and lots and lots of YouTube videos before I started my business, as I was doing my own organizing for my own home. Because I like simple, I like fast, I like easy, easy, simple, fast. And I don't like to spend a lot of time on any particular thing because I enjoy having evenings with my family, whether it's watching TV, watching a movie, reading a book. All of this allows me to do great things in the kitchen for my family, cooking healthy meals for my family that taste good but still allowing me to spend more time with them and not constantly staying in the kitchen for hours. You know, I was raised that everything had to be cooked homemade. Then I discovered going out to eat, because that's the way my husband's family did a lot of, is going out to eat. But now we've found a system where we can go out to eat every Thursday, cook healthy meals, and spend time doing the things we love and enjoying more of our life. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for those that are watching, and I will see you on the next video.